Good afternoon, everybody. I just thought I'd just give you a little bit of a preamble on the Island of Lost Souls, which is the latest one coming out, and a little bit more of a background on the Island of Paradise Lost. Now, you can see that the pictures in the Island of Paradise Lost play quite a big part in the way the story is communicated. Those pictures are not produced after I've created the story. They're actually, in certain instances, produced before the story's been written. And how does that happen? Well, I tend to think in a very visual way. You've probably seen me using my hands quite a lot and being quite theatrical in the way I act in that sense. And I think that possibly that way of thinking has made me need to create drawings and create pictures which are like this, for example. So this, the Island of Paradise Lost, plays on the Milton idea that when Eve convinced Adam to do certain things, that basically mankind was doomed in a way, or kind of was not going to be as pure as they would have been, and that's why innocence was lost and why everybody had to start wearing clothing and things like that. I'm not going to go into all the detail of the story of the Genesis, but basically the Island of Paradise Lost sets almost like Eden on an island, rather than being at the start of God creating the world we know. And it's set in Elizabethan times, and really plays into this feeling that the explorers who were living at the time of Elizabeth, people like Raleigh and Drake, they were starting to explore the world, starting to circumnavigate the world, starting to really redraw what we think about the world. And this whole idea about the earth not being at the center of everything, and the sun being at the center of everything, of course, had come out with Copernicus, but was very much still not being accepted entirely by elements of the Catholic faith. So you've got to say that science, trade, almost like capitalism in a sense, was coming out in the Elizabethan period, and Adam Faulkner, who is one of the main heroes in this story, basically is given an opportunity by Elizabeth to become fabulously wealthy, but he's got to do an extremely difficult task. He's got to go to this place which is in the middle of nowhere, almost like an island El Dorado, find out what's going on there, get what's there, bring it back, give it to Elizabeth, and then he will be made for life. I mean, literally, it is a 1 in a million chance that he's going to achieve this thing. In a parallel, not a parallel, but in a future time, 400 years later, Evelyn Morningstar, who is a relatively rookie new appointee at the Westmoreland Gazette, is looking through what she could do to add some interest to the paper, and she says, "Why don't I start exploring old families that have lived in the Lake District for a long time?" To cut a long story short, she comes across the Faulkner residence, which is on southern Coniston, and she pops in to see Faulkner, is charmed by Faulkner, who's in his early 40s, and I guess Evelyn's probably mid to late 20s, and she immediately splits up from her boyfriend and almost like sets her sights on Adam Faulkner, even though he's a tad older than she is, because she's really just taken in by the place and everything that is the Faulkner residence, which is called Havilah Crag. So this is the start of the Island of Paradise Lost, and that love story between Adam Faulkner and Evelyn Morningstar. I didn't know when I wrote the Island of Paradise Lost where it was going to go. I didn't even know if it was going to even extend on beyond the first story. And really, a lot of my stories do tend to have a life of their own. They do tend to write themselves. They are what they are. They will almost like take me on the journey. They'll take me on their particular story. It's almost as if I'm not writing the story. It's almost as if the story's already been written, and I'm actually just being used as a conduit to put the pictures down and to talk about this particular story. So, very fanciful, very I guess a fantasy, but also extremely kind of like rooted parts of it in this Elizabethan age. There are going to be three stories. The third one is now written. I will be talking about the third story, and yeah, I hope you thoroughly enjoy it. I mean, just last but not least, if you see, for example, a picture like that, this book really doesn't do it justice, because that picture is about 1.4 meters by 1.2 meters, so it's a very, very large picture, and that is the kind of world that is the Island of Paradise Lost. And if you just see behind me the picture on the easel there, that's one of the I guess scenes that greets Adam Faulkner and Evelyn Morningstar when they get to a part of the story and they realise that the island has got cenotaphs on it. It's got memorial stones. Now, those memorial stones, what do they signify? What are they about? Are they where people or another civilization has died? As you may, is it for worshipping something like a summer solstice, like you might find on Stonehenge or on in the Orkneys? I mean, are these stones, to do with somebody worshipping something? My own view on it is that they are something else, and you probably find out in the third story what they are. So I won't give the game away, but just shows you the different way the artwork affects the actual story as well, because that is an aurora borealis in the background of that particular picture. So I'm taking something that you would find probably in the north, somewhere in Norway, Sweden, in Iceland, but this island is, if you can believe it, actually near the Bermuda Triangle. So you would not be seeing aurora borealis in that area. So that's telling you that this island is probably something extremely unusual. It's, apart from the way it looks, it's volcanic terrain, the gold and the jewels that you can just find around commonplace, almost as so that they're almost worthless. It really just also reinforces the fact that if you're actually on the island, you should be concentrating on other things rather than trying to get as much gold as you possibly can and as many jewels, because there is commonplace as you finding a piece of coal or a sand dune or something, or a piece of any piece of rock. It's just the way it is. So yeah, I mean, I do hope you find it interesting. It's an adventure story, and there will be 3 of them, as I've said. And yeah, it's been fun writing them, and I hope you find it equally fun reading them, and maybe get drawn into thinking about what our idea of a paradise might be, and is living forever a good thing or isn't it? What is good? What is bad? Can the devil live on earth? Is God real? There's many different things that are actually thrown up in this story. So, okay, thank you.